Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining today's webinar, which is titled The Weight, WEIGHT of the Weight. I'm Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator, and I am so thrilled to connect with you all this evening for a very short time frame. So the invitation says 7 o'clock. I'm starting at 7 o'clock on the dot. I am recording this session and will be sending it out to those that were unable to attend. So for our first part tonight, I do have everyone in what's known as listen only mode. And so the first thing you probably are wondering is like, why did you decide to host this webinar? Well, if you've been following me for a while, I have been in the midst of interviewing 52 authors. So I do 52 authors, 52 weeks. And I'm also in the midst of writing a new book. And if you've heard me speak recently, I've been talking a lot about shedding the weight. And as I was in the midst of writing this one chapter, I said, you got to have a webinar where you can help others figure out what to do while you are waiting. So, when I talk about weight, I want to be very clear that I'm not talking about physical weight. I'm not a physician. I'm not a dietitian. I have my own struggles with physical weight. But there are other types of weight that I have experienced. And I wish that I had the tools during my journey that I'm going to share with you tonight. So, number one, the first type of weight that I personally was carrying, and this may resonate with you, was finding my way, finding my voice. The second thing is weight that I was carrying was confidence, and confidence in my ability to grow, my ability to really see beyond what was directly in front of me. The next area was forgiveness, and not forgiving others, but forgiving myself for the choices that I made, or if I could be honest, the choices that I didn't make. The next area of weight is so I talked about self confidence, but self awareness. One of the things that I personally have been doing is digging deep into who Dr. Lisa L. Campbell is. What does she want to do when she grow up? And yes, at the young age of 51, I'm still navigating what I want to do. But I will tell you now more than ever, May 30th, 2024, I am clear on what my assignment is in life, what my purpose is in life, and I am in alignment with what my assignment is on this earth. Now, how did I get there? Shedding weight. So, another area that I needed to shed was salary and benefits. I allowed myself to be held hostage by working this job beyond the time frame that I should have been working there. I kept saying I was going to leave, but it wasn't until the day that I decided to become comfortable being uncomfortable is when I made that shift. And let me just tell you, the peace that I have today is so powerful. It's so calming. When others see me out and about, they're like, whoa, you look different. And I have to share with them, I stopped allowing myself to be held hostage. The other thing is trauma. And trauma can come to us in so many different ways. Trauma could come from something that happened to us. Trauma could come from not doing something that we should have done a long time ago. Trauma can come from situationships. I remember being in a relationship with someone that clearly didn't want the same things that I wanted. And I just kept holding on like they were going to one day want that. And the day that I got them to tell me, I don't want the same things that you want, I was able to move forward. But we're not always able to get others to be honest and tell us that they don't want the same things. The other weight that I had to shed was not being vulnerable. And today, as a vulnerable person, I'm able to share what I've been through, how I felt, and how it helped me grow. Years ago, I would not be able to do that. Other weight that I'm shedding is about finances. I think oftentimes we get caught up in we got to have this purse or this house or this car or just all these things. And one of the things that I realized, while I like nice things, there are other things like my peace of mind that are much more important than a purse. I also had to shed not knowing what tomorrow was going to hold. And so becoming comfortable, being uncomfortable is where I am today. I'm not going to lie, it's a scary place. I'm the type of person that I live by a calendar, right? I like to know what's going to happen next and plan out every aspect of my life. But when you become comfortable being uncomfortable, you're not going to know every aspect of what's going to happen. But let me tell you, being in this place and being an active participant in my own journey, it's amazing the things that are happening. And so I'm so excited about you being here today because I want to share with you some tips on what you can do while you're waiting. You know, waiting is a part of life. And when I was very young, as a young adult, a young mother, I gave birth to a little girl who I waited 7 years for her to take her steps, meaning walking. And that journey taught me lots of valuable lessons that I don't even have time, to share with you today. But it's essential that you, that I identify and confront whatever that weight is for you and confront the thing head on. I just recently read this book called The Mountain Is You. And in the book, they talk about how the things we want to happen aren't happening because we haven't taken the first step. So let's talk about how you can shed your own weight. So, number one, it's so important that you are learning faster than you're growing. What does that mean? Well, for me, it's about my continuous thirst for knowledge. And I'm not talking about education like going to school. In the books that are behind me that I've been reading, I've been able to grow by obtaining a skill that helps me with a situation that may be a year down the road. And I would not have gotten that skill, that technique, without being a continuous learner. I think a lot of people, and then this was something that I thought earlier in life, education was the key to success, and that was it and all. And I personally stopped doing what I absolutely love to do, which is read. So the next thing is learning something new. One way to make great use of your time while you're waiting is learning something new. For me, I recently have got into making things. Now, the Dr. Lisa L. Campbell of 10 years ago would not be making any type of arts and craft. But when I separated myself from salary and benefits, I was in a place where I was open to trying things that I would not have tried before. We are wrapping up Mental Health Awareness Month. And let me just tell you, my mental state today is in such a great place that no matter what comes against me, I put my boxing gloves up and I'm like, yeah, bring it, because I have these tools on my tool belt that I can pull out and use them at any given moment. Now, does that mean that I have all the tools for everything? Absolutely not, right? Because nobody is perfect. The next tip that I want to give you, so the first is making use of that time learning something new. The next thing is practicing mindfulness. When you're waiting on something to happen, it can be very stressful. But mindfulness helps you stay relaxed and calm, such as incorporating breathing techniques, right? I personally do some guided meditation or just really taking a moment of silence. I have really um, started to love moments of silence where I can just allow nature to speak to me. It's in those silent moments that I'm able to see myself in the future. It's in those silent moments that I have great ideas that I otherwise would not have had because of all the noise, right? Being on the cell phone and watching TV. But just sitting in silence has, in some aspect, really set me free from some weight that I was carrying. Another tactic is setting priorities and goals. Every year, I create what I used to call a strategic plan. But in 2024, after reading this book last year called Vivid Vision, I now have this vivid vision plan. And on this vivid vision plan, I identified 15 goals that I want to accomplish by the end of 2024. Every week, I review where I am. It was this guy named, and you can Google him, Mr. Peter Drucker. He talks about you can't measure what you don't monitor. So, one of my goals, I wanted to interview 52 authors by the end of 2024 and release my interview to the world once a week. When I tell you that goal has changed my life, I'm interviewing people who I don't know. We're not having a prep meeting beforehand. We literally just get on and talk about their book. Talk about an amazing experience. Talk about all the different tools and techniques and gems that I'm learning from that experience. But it's all because I had the vision to do it. And this is the key part. I didn't know how it was going to happen. And as of today, 45 authors have answered the call of being willing to be interviewed. And as of today, I've interviewed 40 of them, but I'm only on episode like 22. So setting goals and prioritizing tasks writing the vision, and your vision may be different, right? I actually have two vivid vision plans, but I can't tell you my whole vision board plan because we'll be on here for hours. So the next thing is connecting with others. Waiting periods are a great opportunity for you to meet others that you don't even know just by striking up a conversation. People tell me all the time when they see me just out and about that they're drawn to me. So yesterday, I was in a nail salon getting my nails completed. I'm in this phase where I'm trying different colors and different designs when I would not have done that before. But remember, since I've shed my own weight, the peace that I am at, the place that I'm at is so powerful and so amazing. And so I was sitting down and this lady came in and I just smiled and said hello. And then immediately she engaged in a conversation with me. And we literally conversed until our names got called for our respective appointments. Building relationships and connections can be valuable not only for your personal life, but also in your professional life as well. Now, I said shed the weight was not about exercising. However, I have to tell you that one strategy that I've used in the past, and I'm working on getting back on my schedule, is exercising. Exercising allows you to take care of your physical well being. And let me tell you, when I was in those periods of my most stressful point in life, I was exercising a lot because it allowed me to clear my brain of all the clutter. But something else that I just started doing that I do a lot now is stretching. And so stretching, because I'm older, is really allowing my body to be, just more flexible and really allowing me to move the way that I'm supposed to be moving around the globe. My goals, dreams, and aspirations are so big today. I'm amazed of the things that I'm doing. All right, the next thing, journaling. And I have a visual aid for you because this is actually my journal. And journaling can really be a great time for self reflection. In most cases, I'm journaling twice a day, in the morning when I wake up and in the evening. I have found that journaling in the evening allows me to dump all of these ideas that are in my big old brain, as my husband likes to say. You got a big old brain, right? And so I'm dumping all of these thoughts and feelings that I'm have thought about during the day. And sometimes in the middle of the day, I go and write them down. But journaling my thoughts, my ideals, my reflection can really help you clarify um, things you want to do, express your emotions. Um, I used to be the type of person who I carried a lot of things, and now I write them down. And do I journal every day? No. Most days, yes. But one of the things that I found is that when I go back and read my journal, I'm like, wow, you wrote that, you did that. And I'm celebrating myself for the really small wins, the really small strides that I'm making towards my goal. And I wake up every day with a sense of gratitude, with a sense of purpose like I've never felt before. So these are just some of the strategies, and this is a small list, right? But implementing just one of these strategies can help you make the most of your waiting period and honestly turn your waiting period into these invaluable opportunities. And the name of the game is growth. I told myself a long time ago that every year I had to experience growth. Life is going to continue to go on, whether or not you take that first step, right? And it's scary. Taking a step that you've been thinking about for a long time is scary. But if it's something that you've meditated about, if you are a person that believes in prayer, if you prayed about it, and if you're like me, if you've cried about it, if you've um, spoken to others about it, it may be something that it's time for you to let go of. Trust me, as a person who has let go of some things and some people and some places, the other side of it is waiting on you, and it'll meet you there, and it'll put its arms around you and embrace you and give you something to think about as you tackle the next mountain. So the last thing I'm going to tell you, there's this author named Jim Collins, and in his book, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but he talks about these big, hairy, audacious goals. He calls them the bee hag, not the beehive, but the bee hag. Big, hairy, audacious goals. And this is where you have one goal that you're trying to meet. And the minute you climb up that mountain and you get on the other side of it, then you set another goal. I know for me, I oftentimes had too many goals that I was trying to accomplish, and I got overwhelmed where I just kind of fell back. But then once I started making that one big one, like I got some smaller ones, but that one big goal, writing in my journal what that goal is, writing in my journal affirmations of that goal. When it started to unfold, I'm like, whoa, you wrote about it, you journaled about it, you cried about it. And so I realized that I am here on this earth to help anyone that's listened shed the weight that is holding them hostage. I hope that today you've had an opportunity to reflect on something that's holding you hostage. And I challenge you to take some time to write about it, meditate about it, and then take little small steps to making it happen. Here's the last thing I want to leave you with. In my vivid vision plan that I set for myself this year, I'm not executing that plan alone. There are others that are working with me to help me accomplish those goals, which is huge for me because I used to be the person that thought I had to do everything to get all the things done. And now I subscribe to the who, not how model of execution, which means it doesn't matter how it's going to get done, because it's going to get done, right? But I needed a bunch of who's to help me reach my goals. That also has been very freeing. All right. I only intended for this session to be 30 minutes long, and I have talked for 25 minutes. And in our final moments together, I want to give you an opportunity to maybe you have a question that you want to ask. And right now, I have the chat where you can type the question and it comes to me only because maybe you're like, I'm kind of shy. Um, I don't want everyone to know that I asked the question. So you can type it in the chat. Or if you are bold enough, you can turn on your microphone and ask the question. And I'll take a stab at answering the question. And I'm going to just make sure that you all can unmute yourself and ask the question. And I'm going to stop talking. So give me a second to turn that feature back on. And let's see if anybody has a question. And it could be a question, it could be a comment. And if not, then I bid you a good night. And oh, I see a question. Was there fear? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Was there fear leaving your salary and benefits, knowing now that you have peace? So, was there fear? Absolutely. And this was the fear. Okay. The fear was, let's just be real. How am I pay my bills? How am I pay, the light? How am I gonna eat? Now, I'm married, and my husband was like, do it. We'll figure it out. But I kept prolonging that decision because I was too comfortable. And there came a day when I said, and I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again because I truly believe it. Once I became comfortable with being uncomfortable and closing that door, and then stepped into the middle of the process, which honestly, I'm in right now. It's called the messy middle, where, sometimes it's scary. And it's scary to the extent where, and I'll just use a perfect example. I'm currently working on this project. It's a 20-week project, and I was ticking right along, and it was at a hospital, and the hospital had a cyber attack. So now this is week 3 where I have not worked the project. I'm not getting paid, but I'm okay. And I'm okay because if I made it this far without the formal salary and benefits, I know that I'll live to see another day. And I'm just taking one day at a time. Was it scary? Is it scary? Absolutely. But honestly, I'm excited about my future more than ever before because let me tell you what I realized. When I was in that situation where I was allowing myself to be held hostage by salary and benefits, I had to realize that I was the talent. I was the person that was making this organization millions, perhaps billions of dollars with my creativity, with my ability to be innovative, right? And so if I had that ability to do all of that for them, can you imagine what I could do for me? And the place that I'm walking in today, the people who I'm serving, they need me to be this version of myself, to have an impact to change their life. And I wouldn't have been able to do that on the scale that I'm able to do it today back then when I was allowing myself to be held hostage. My husband gave me support, because I'm not going to say approval, we don't have that type of household. He gave me the support 2 years before I even detached myself. And he just patiently waited on me to be comfortable with making that decision. And the day that I made the decision that I was going to say it out my mouth, ooh, it was so freeing. And I was so calm and I was smiling because I knew that I was doing what I was supposed to do. That was a great question. Any other questions? And again, you can, and I'm pretty sure the microphone is, yeah, you can unmute yourself, or again, you can type in the chat. And I'm going to send this recording out to all of you that attended, those that didn't attend, because I want you to have something to listen to this little 30-minute session while I'm still working on the book, because I am writing this book with you in mind because I know what it's like to be afraid to shed those things. And my goal, my desire, my prayer is that I give you something that you can sit and read. And there's going to be an audio book that you can listen to and say, you know what? It's time for me to make my big, hairy, audacious goals. It's time for me to write my vivid vision plan. As professionals, we do a great job of carrying out organizations' mission, vision, objectives. We don't do the same thing for self. And for me, on this side of 50, I'm in control of that. Well, my higher power is in control of that, but I am here for the journey. My GPS, my internal GPS, is keeping me on track, and it's such a great place to be. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat. I want to thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I can't wait to hear about your big, hairy, audacious goals. I can't wait to hear about your vivid vision. I can't wait to hear about the things that you have shed from your own personal journey. It's so worth it. And I can't wait until you begin your journey. Thank you for coming. Have a good night.